Hi guys, welcome back to another video. It's Johnny and Jack with the Next Rank YouTube channel. Sorry, Jack, caught you off guard there with that one, but we've got a good video for you guys today. We've put a lot of time into this one, looking for examples for positioning and what we think to be the best positioning tip for each rank in the game. So let's just jump straight into it. Let's get straight into bronze and silver. We're combining them because the same tip works in both of these ranks, and it's quite simple. Just avoid the chaos. Just stay away from the ball until it's clear. Because if you watch bronze and silver replays, if you're bronze and silver, you look at your replays. This even works at high rank as well. Just look, if you feel like a game is really chaotic, go back, watch the replay. Everybody's probably chasing the ball. It's like watching the kids at school playing football. They all just want to be on the ball. So nobody wants to stay back. Yeah, Jack's paused it here to you can already see what's going to happen, but Jack, break it down. Yep, there it is.
Everyone just kind of drifts into the corner. This is what we want to avoid. Simple as that. It's a very simple tip, but that's all we really need to focus on in terms of position at these ranks. The aim that we want to kind of go for here, if you see everyone else in the lobby drifting towards the ball, stay a little further back, especially if you're like kind of last man around this position, staying away from the chaos, because eventually the ball isn't going to go flying at these ranks. It's still moving very slowly every now and then, and you'll be able to collect a free ball and maybe get a hard clear out or a good touch. That's kind of the aim, making it easier for yourself whilst everyone else is tripping over their own feet or wheels in this case. So yeah, just stay away from the chaos because it is going to happen.
All right, let's see what happens next here. Let's see where it all goes wrong. Yeah, I mean, you can see it. If the goalie had stayed back, they would have had, well, granted, quite a tough save, because at this rank, that's a guaranteed goal if someone's there to put it away, which they're not. They don't actually concede here. But the ball, like Jack said, it will go into space at some point, and that's where you're trying to capitalize on in the lower ranks. But this tip is going to work all the way through the ranks as well, just at a more general sense. You don't want to just get stuck in with the ball at all times.
Yeah, I do want to say that I wouldn't take it to the absolute extreme that Brian has inside his own net here. He's really staying away from this chaos, but you know what? It's honestly slightly better than just drifting into the corners constantly. So don't mind it, Brian. Don't mind it.
Okay, now for gold. This is going to be a tip a lot of you guys have heard, but might not necessarily know how to use it effectively, and that's to go back post in defense. And what that means is you want to go towards the post or the side of your goal in defense, which is farthest away from the ball. That's the opposite of what we've done here on this POV. We somehow still get a save, which is really fortunate in this position, because it was very awkward. We didn't have any idea when the shot was coming in. But that's us driving towards the near post, which it makes it very tricky. But Jack's going to go wide angle here, show us. Yeah. So first of all, why is this tricky? Why is this awkward? And what can we do instead to make it a bit easier?
Yeah, so I think the point is that rotating back post, it is a good kind of general rule to follow at times. Now, at higher ranks, it changes, right? And we will get onto that later on in the video. But at this rank, at gold, it is pretty good general rule, especially in positions like this where you're not exactly needed on the ball straight away. Okay, you've got two teammates right in front of you that are handling this situation. Whether there should be two teammates here instead of one is definitely something else to think about. But look, we're not on the ball. We don't need to be on the ball. There's no point of rotating like this straight through the middle of the pitch, which is what we do here, because if this ball does pinch up or even out like this, we're not going to have that space to move into, and therefore it makes it really, really difficult for us to kind of read this ball. We have to do a turn in a circle rather than going straight towards it and get kind of a miracle save with a slight touch into a 50. This was just fortunate that it didn't end up in our net. Whereas if we go back post in this position, so a couple steps back, or gone a little too far here, but we go for an aerial, we're going to rotate. If we go towards the back post, not only will we pick up small pads along the way, all right, which is always beneficial, we're simply going to be facing the ball into the position where it's going to come at, right? Come into, sorry. So we're just going to be there. We're going to be there for an easier touch, and we're going to be able to get more speed, more momentum, and get the touch back into the corner where it's going to be safe, or even a hard clear out, because we're simply going to be facing the ball here, okay, rather than having to do a circle after hitting the near post.
It's actually quite interesting. We just talked about it, how the tips at bronze, silver, and so on, they're going to work at higher ranks. It's happened here. The two players rushing into the back corner. They're getting stuck in to the chaotic situation, which the back corner often is. 50-50s often are. So these things are going to happen. But don't think that, if you're higher ranked than this, that you can't use these tips, because you can. You absolutely can.
Absolutely.
The back post is a great defensive thing. We talk about it as an overrated thing in other videos because it is sometimes just parroted by other people in the community as the only way that you can play correctly, which is not true. Rocket League's far too situational for that. That's not to say it's not really good, though. This, when the near post is already covered, absolutely you want to go back post here. Pretty much any level. The only thing I would say is go faster. Get to that back post quickly, because like Jack said, you can see everything in front of you. But yeah, you want to get there as early as possible, so that when the ball does go middle like this, you can make a play on it before the offense does. All right, let's talk about Plat now. We're going to be talking about quarter pitch rotation, and some of you might recognize this clip because we've used this in the free course. So check out thenextrank.com/free if you want to access our free miniature course. It's got a whole breakdown on quarter pitch rotation that goes into far more depth than we will in this video. However, this is a really important strategy to learn, and it incorporates some of the same ideas that we were talking about in bronze silver, trying to avoid the chaos. But maybe Jack also gave us a little preview in bronze silver there, where you don't want to be too far away like the goalie was in that clip.
Yeah.
Because quarter pitch rotation is all about, it's not a rule, it's more a guideline. You want to be a roughly quarter pitch length away from your teammate or teammates in threes at all times. That allows you to get quick follow-up if something goes well, and it also allows you to back them up if something goes wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I'd say specifically when they have the ball. I mean, you can do it, of course, in general, but especially when our teammate has the ball. Yeah, exactly. When a touch is about to happen, kind of thing. And again, of course, like we kind of alluded to earlier in the last clip, Rocket League is very situational. It's, there are going to be times where you want to be even closer or further away. But yeah, in general, definitely a really, really solid kind of tip to follow, especially at Plat and even slightly higher. Like Johnny said, allows you to follow up on touches like this. What we do after this is questionable, just kind of hitting it into the corner where it's going to be safe for the opponents, but that's not what we're talking about here. It's giving us the option to get onto the ball and kind of remain with our teammate at all times. This player, Clever Racing, does it really well.
Very clever.
We thought, very clever for the majority of this kind of whole section that we're watching, and it does slightly break down here because this player unfortunately kind of breaks this rule a little bit and goes too wide when he doesn't need to. If you caught it a second ago, I'll go back. He's on 81 boost here, Johnny, right? Simple as that. 81 boost, we don't really need the 100 boost, okay? We hit the ball, and if we're kind of, if we're playing the best kind of situation there, I would say we just rotate like this and then get behind our teammate, again, about a quarter pitch away. Instead of going, using all of our 81 boosts just to grab the mid boost, and now we've got this, plus 19 boosts. It's we're in the green, I guess, but we're also an entire kind of pitch away in terms.
This is half pitch rotation now, which is too much, as you can see, like too much. And the pitch, I believe in Rocket League, is half as wide as it is long, so this would make it half length of the pitch. Maybe that's not true. Actually, is it really half as wide as it is long?
I'm actually not sure. But
something like that. But
either way, too far.
It's far. Yeah, it's too far. So it doesn't really work, and that's why Clever Racing has to back off. If he forces a challenge here in some way, his teammate's not ready to follow up. So it works in that the defensive mind as well. Obviously, fluctuates. With the pace of the game. If the ball's barely moving, you can go closer. If the ball's moving faster, you can go further away. But like I mentioned earlier, if you want a more in-depth breakdown on this strategy, looking at more clips and hearing us talk about it for a long time, check out our free course. There's other videos in there as well. Okay, moving on to Diamond now. We're going to talk about the other type of rotation, not the back post. We're going to talk about ball side rotation. This is a strategy that you can use at much higher ranks as well. But you saw it right there. That's a ball side rotation, and it's not near the goal, so it sometimes gets people confused when you're thinking near post rotation, back post. Well, where are the posts? It's more the side of the pitch that you're on. Are you rotating back on the side of the pitch, left and right, that the ball is on? or are you going wide to the back post? Then this position, Kanki goes towards the ball. This is a ball side rotation, and we like this. We think it's a good play in this position. But Jack's going to explain why, and then show you another example where it was used, but in a less committed way.
Yeah, so this is good because, I mean, simply there's space between our opponent and our teammate. And in this position, our teammate is pushing forward, but he wouldn't mind if we cut the play and rotated ball side to get in a challenge, because then after, you'll see he can instantly go again for the ball, okay? That's a very, very good play, and I know it doesn't turn into a goal, but not every good play has to turn into a goal. Sometimes it just has to turn into possession or getting the ball off the opponent, and this was very, very good. So, yeah, it just puts the opponent off. You can decide whether you want to challenge or whether your teammate is about to go in and challenge, and in that case, you don't want to go, which we will see in the next clip. But yeah, really, really good stuff. Even if we don't get contact on the ball, Johnny, it's still forcing it, and it's good to get the ball off the opponent. This one here, I think it was 440. Sorry, give me a second to go back to this. This was a ball side rotation from a player on the other team. It's similar position. He could rotate back post, which is on the opposite side of the pitch that the ball is on right now. Or he could rotate ball side and cut across the pitch. Simply quicker, getting back as well. And he does that. He's looking to go for this ball in the corner, or he's at least looking to apply pressure, which puts the opponent off if he got a little bit closer. But he sees his teammate, Porco over here, is about to go for the ball, and then he backs off. Now, we wanted to show this one because we wanted to kind of get it in your guys' mind that just because you rotate ball side for the majority of your rotation back doesn't mean last second that you have to go for the ball, okay? A lot of players think that, I've rotated ball side, I've done what they said, let's get in a challenge here. Well, Rocket League changes every second, and sometimes, things are just going to develop into different scenarios where we actually want to change our minds. So this ball is going into the corner, so we shouldn't really challenge anyway from this position. It would only help the opponents. And our teammate is also getting a challenge forward facing, which if they do contact the ball is always going to be better, or majority of the time it's going to be better. So we back off, and because we've rotated ball side, we can instantly turn and decide whether we want to go again. Similar thing, he decides not to. In the end, by the way, if he actually just went for this ball off the fake challenge and just committed, he'd get the goal. He just kind of took a little too long. But you'll see from this kind of example, the power of ball side rotation and just the decisions that you can make or decide not to make from it.
Okay, so this is what created that position. Teammate gets demoed. ZX actually dives, which is a risky dive when your teammate's demoed, as a side note. But that's why there was this gap between the two players, because one of them got demoed. But I still really like the play on the recovery from ZX. And I think, it's, like Jack said, it's really important to show because of the adaptability. The reason why a lot of people get annoyed about their teammates ball chasing, as they call it, or we call it ball side rotating, is when the double commit occurs. Now, this player that we're on view right now, he didn't need to go here. He felt comfortable going, thought he had a good challenge, and it turns out he did. He did challenge the ball well. But if this didn't look comfortable, if the player goes up the wall or is ball carrying more in a more scary way, they wouldn't need to challenge this. They could just think, okay, whatever, my teammate's got pressure here. I'm just going to turn, go get more boost. And this is nice. That's why we like what ZX is doing here. It gives the other defender options. If they want to challenge, they can. And at that moment, as the ball side rotator, it's your job to pull away like ZX did here. Mm-hmm. But if they don't, if this player turns, goes back to net, then ZX will know, okay, I can just challenge for him. It's all good. So you've got to be adaptable with it. But if you are, then you're going to help out your teammate massively. Okay, moving on to Champ now. We're going to talk about lateral positioning. And look at this. We're on board with Kitty Action. Just look at apparently Dave get to work. And there we go. It's infield for Kitty Action to blast into the net. But this is all about the lateral positioning here from apparently, or rather from Kitty Action. And apparently Dave, he capitalizes on it. We knew he would. That's why we went for this replay, and he delivered.
Yeah, I do like this. I want to go back just to kind of point a couple of things out. Touch to the side, lateral touches as well, Johnny. I like it, putting it into the space. And in this position, we've got Kitty Action to our right, which is always a sight you want to see. And then we've got Compact Dwarf in the net. And if you're in a 2v1 position in offense, you've got the two players on your side, and you're attacking at a defender and net. There's so many options that they have to cover, and if they're simply too far away, like this player in the net is, we can have that lateral pass towards the midfield open, that infield pass, and it doesn't even have to be the cleanest pass, Johnny. In all seriousness, this isn't the greatest pass. The touches beforehand were amazing. The decision was good. The pass is pretty good, but it obviously is kind of slow, right?
Bit of a wet noodle, yeah.
Yeah, a bit of a wet noodle, which doesn't matter in the end because of the power of this kind of play in this position, right? Simple as that. The position just kind of calls for an infield pass. It doesn't even have to be perfect, and we still get a great chance out of it. So yeah, I really, really like this. Definitely one for champ kind of rank players to get into their game more often than they would have at lower ranks. So yeah, definitely.
And don't be too annoyed if you are the player waiting mid and your teammate doesn't pass to you, because sometimes from their POV, the defender's cutting off the pass. And if the defender's really overcompensating for the passing angle and they look like they're ready to dive in and cut it off, then that just leaves the net open, or it leaves the backboard open, or some other area in defense will be open and available to exploit. So yeah, don't get upset if your teammate doesn't always pass to you in this position. Sometimes you are just a distraction, and your presence alone is enough to cause a goal to occur. But yeah, like here, if the defender is not ready to cut it off, the pass is usually the most unstoppable play.
Okay, really quickly, because we do have another tip for champ that we're going to get right onto in a second. But this one, I do want to talk about, obviously, the positioning of the player that is kind of positioned laterally to the player that's on the ball here. We want to make sure that most times we're kind of behind the ball slightly, so we have room to move forward to actually have momentum to get a good kind of shot off. Because a lot of players, they position too aggressively, they get a little too excited, they're pushing forward before the pass is even about to come across, Johnny, and then they have to kind of stop all their momentum, kill their momentum, stop on the spot and try and get an awkward shot, or they're just too in front of the ball's behind them, and then they go, oh well, that was a bad pass. Well, actually, you want to make it easy for your teammate that's on the ball to kind of get this in front of you. This player does that pretty well. He's kind of timing his speed to get into the right spot. He realized here that he's probably a little too far forward for the play, and he slows down. You see that? Slows down, so now he's behind the ball, and then he can move forward a little bit into the shot. That allows him to get a good amount of power, and yeah, we get the goal out of it.
All right, continuing on that idea of lateral positioning, we're going to look at a 3v3 game from bird's eye view. We'll watch this a couple times so you guys can see what's happening. But we're mainly looking at the orange team, and we want to look at how they've got players positioned over on the back post side of the box. Quite often during this sequence, doesn't lead to a goal in this immediate play, but we do like the formation. It's we call it the V formation, where you've got your second man more on the wide side of the pitch instead of following behind like the more traditional second man will, and then the third man sits deep in the middle, the back of the bottom of the V almost. Yeah, and you'll see it Rocket League's so free flowing that you'll see it in moments you can pause and say, oh yeah, they're in a V. No, they're not. Now they are again. This is a cool way that you can use that lateral position on the far post side of the box, which has the advantage of being very difficult for the defenders to see. So Bubbles and Net here will not be able to see that player who's on the far side of the box. However, if there is a near post infield pass available, they would be able to see that one. So this is much harder to cut off, and very fluid formation to use. Can keep a lot of pressure on the other team. A lot of pro teams use this very well with players intercepting clears on both sides of the pitch. But yeah, if you want, like with everything in this video, if you want more information on these things, we go way more in depth in the course. This one's not in our free course, this is in the actual course. V formation, we love it. It's a super fun thing to use, and it incorporates the lateral option really well.
Yeah, I think Johnny said everything that was really needed to be said there. Explained it really well. I just wanted to kind of point out that we held pressure for around 40 seconds. Obviously, the ball kind of broke out for a second here, but our positioning allowed us to get it right back in. We rotate back into the V formation with our second man, third man sitting far deep. I really like it. It allows us to hold pressure a little bit for about 40 seconds. We don't get a goal off of it, but sometimes, yeah, good players don't need to really turn into goals in the end for them to still be classed as good. And you can just really see the effectiveness of this constant kind of rotation back into the similar formation that we had in the previous play. Really, really good stuff.
Okay, let's talk about Grand Champ now. We're going to be looking at a positioning tip from my own POV, and that is to just stay still on the kickoff, to not move, because it confuses the other team. No, just kidding. It's not that. But we're going to talk about using positioning to dodge demos, to stay away from danger on the pitch. Yeah. Something that you'll notice with all of the high-rated players, if you ever had a chance to play them, is that it's really hard to demo them. You know, people criticize the demo mains. It's like, oh, they're, you know, abusing a strategy that's overpowered, but really it's not. It's actually very hard to demo good players, and they use very advanced movement in the midfield, swerving, keeping enemies in view, driving up walls in 1v1 a lot, you'll see. But yeah, we've got one example here in my game, and Jack, you can talk through what's happening here. I don't actually know when it happens. We've gone to the start of the game here. Is it coming up soon?
Oh, I have no idea. I was waiting for you to tell me when this when this is going to happen.
I don't know what it is. No, I don't know what it is. It's somewhere in this replay. Maybe there's like a timestamp or something. I don't know.
Okay, well let me...
Let's cut. Cut.
All right, we're back. We actually just had to watch the entire replay for about 4 minutes. I just completely wasted my time here. But as you can see, this is what we're talking about here for GC. And this is obviously one example, guys. This is, you know, you can do this everywhere on the pitch, like Johnny said. But we do really think it's a valuable skill that a lot of players kind of forget to think about in their own games. Some players have it down, and then a lot of players just don't have it down whatsoever. And that is using your positioning to avoid bumps, like Johnny said, especially going inside the near post like this. Johnny sees a demo come in. Inside the near post or inside your goal in general, very, very deep, allowing you to kind of get in, avoid any type of bump from the opponents, and still be in a good defensive position to hold everything that's happening in front of you. So Johnny does that exactly, avoids the bump, and then is still in a good position to, like I said, play the defense properly. So definitely just one example that that kind of shows that overall kind of rule or tip that we want to give for GCs. But yeah, just be aware of it, Johnny. Is there anything else that you kind of have, you know, specific moments that GCs need to look out for bumps? For me personally, there a lot of them are stationary when they're waiting in offense for a mid pass around the corner, for example. And then if a third man from the other team is rotating back to go into third man, I mean, they can just bump you on the way back. So you constantly you should constantly try and move in circles to avoid these types of bumps from rotating opponents. That's what I would say.
Yeah, and like just being aware, jumping, dodging. You know, the very best players, they just constantly know where the opponents are. But I also just wanted to compliment the other team on their insane offense here. I mean, what a shot they delivered to our goal. I mean, wow. Yeah, that's a great attack there. So I don't know how I was able to stop that one, but it just shows the power of the play that we were able to keep that one out
sure.
of that.
Three players in offense.
3v1.
And it's top corner, really. And miracle that we managed to keep it up. But like you said, definitely the power of the tip that we just given now. All right, last thing I wanted to say for GC that can kind of help you guys with avoiding bumps using your position is actually not trying to get into a position too early. Now, you know, bear with me for a second, because earlier on this video, all the way back in, I think, gold or something.
The first one?
Yeah,
maybe,
it was something like that. I think it was gold for back post. We said, you know, try and get there quickly. Obviously, for those ranks, it's better to just kind of get there, so you're there, and you don't have to have anything else to think about. At these ranks now that we're a very, very high-level player, we want to... Maybe not you, John, but most of the people that are in this rank, we want to actually time our positioning to get into the position at the right time, so we don't have to slow down because we're there too soon. If we have to slow down, like I said earlier, it's just going to allow our opponents to bump us, demo us, and it's just going to be awkward for us. Okay, so try and time your positioning a little bit better of when you're arriving to actually use your positioning straight away for the play that is about to happen, rather than getting there, it being a good position, but then you have to kill all your momentum and you're demoed 2 seconds later.
All right, guys, and now last one for this video is SSL. And while all of the tips in this video work throughout most of the ranks, almost all the ranks, there will be some of the information that's a bit different. This one you can do at lower level as well, and that's to cover the most dangerous option when you're in defense. And this is not what our player we're on POV with does here. doesn't identify the most dangerous option, and puts his teammate in a bit of a pickle. So Jack, what's the most dangerous option here? What could this player have done to cover it?
Yeah, we're just showing this one example again to cover a whole topic, which obviously we can't just show, hours of footage for every single thing at SSL, but we do want to cover the most dangerous option, whether that's the mid pass, whether that's covering low on takeoffs when your opponent has the ball in an air duel. So I'm going to switch to my POV here, which is, I am on the backboard here. I'm going to hide the nameplates because this is...
we feel bad. It's too recent. We don't want to expose anyone here.
This was yesterday, and it's like a bubble. It's a bubble player, and I'm not just going to kind of, show a massive mistake. It does happen, and this is going to happen for every single... until your last day of playing Rocket League. Your teammates are going to do this, you're going to do this sometimes, and if it does happen, you should know it's a massive mistake. It should never obviously happen, right? Like, it's a huge mistake to kind of play high when the danger is low. So obviously, that's what we're trying to do here. We're playing high when our teammate should go up the backboard, in my opinion. I mean, of course, I'll think that because I went up the backboard in this position, because I do think it's best to. When you have a player challenging the ball, go to the backboard, player that's jumping, forces high. It's the oldest trick in the book. That's not what we do here, because we go high. Now we're covering high because that's what you should do. And then the low option becomes available. Now, you might be thinking, well, okay, if you can, force high and cover low in this position, let me put, oh God, I just showed the nameplate. Oh, well. You might be thinking, if we, if you're saying, Jack, if you're saying that you can force high whilst covering low and then the backboard guy can get the ball, why can't you just do the opposite? Why didn't you here just go to the ground because you see that your teammate's covering high and he's forcing low? Well, the issue is that with what this player is trying to do on the ball here, he's trying to get a reset as well. So if he's going low and gets a reset, what's possible is that they can quickly use it after they get underneath the first guy. They get underneath the first guy, they see the second guy challenging low, and then they just use it to pop over you. That's the one reason why you cannot do this, and also simply because they can quickly go to the ground and pop it over you again. All right, it's just simply not good because the ground is much closer to them than the ceiling is, which means they have to. They can get to the ground and make another play quickly. Right? It's never good to do this. So. Yeah, this is a very specific example, but yeah, in general for the entire kind of tip, we want to make sure you guys are thinking about covering truly what is most dangerous. If the person is going to the corner with the ball, that's not really dangerous. So do we have to, really rush back and get a last second dive in? No. Whereas if they're going to your net, we might have to do that. Okay, so just a little bit of extra thought, I think, at this rank with truly covering, what's most dangerous. Because you'd be surprised. There is a lot of SSL players that don't actually do this and just use their mechanics and don't really think about their challenges with their positioning. And they would improve a lot if they did.
And yeah, this is why, when you're challenging for your teammate, which is what's happening here, Jack's back, he's hoping his teammate will challenge for him. When you're challenging solo, if this is a 1v1 play, of course, you have to think about covering high because they might just go high. You have to just win the ball for yourself. But when you're in a twos match and you're challenging with a teammate behind you, when you're in threes and you have a teammate behind you, you need to think about challenging for the team. How does your team win the ball back without leaving any dangerous options available for the other team to exploit? That's why, Jack's saying force high, because then the opponent has to hit the ball hard. He can follow up really quickly, get most likely a free touch at best, or at worst, a very good 50. So it's going to be good either way. This is really important. But whether that most dangerous option is an infield pass, whether it's just like a hard clear, whether it's a shot, whatever it is, you've got to think about how does your team win the ball back? How do you get the ball back for your teammate, not just for yourself? And honestly, most of the time that players get this wrong is by getting faked, which is sort of what happened here. Yep. The opponent looked like they're going to go high, so we've blocked high and we've been faked. So if you can avoid getting faked when you've got teammates behind you, you're already going to be avoiding giving them the what they want most of the time. Maybe don't get faked. Don't at least hit some of the ball if you're not going to hit all of the ball. Or the car. If you want to go high to get a big block, like let's say there was big upside to going high on a challenge, like getting a dunk goal. You don't get dunks without going high on a challenge. well, you can still hit some of the ball. You can still hit the top of it in the case that they don't move it in the way that you think that they're going to. So yeah, just think about that. And like we said before, many times in this video, this works at all ranks. We just wanted to pick the one tip that we think is going to be most applicable to each rank, but honestly, they're all usable in every rank. So positioning is very, very flexible in Rocket League, and you're going to need to make the adjustments according to your rank that you're at, whether you're playing with higher rated friends, lower rated friends, whatever. You're going to need to adapt to the gameplay, the players. No one size fits all in this game.
Absolutely, guys. You have learned one solid, very, very solid tip for positioning at each rank in Rocket League. Like we said before, we do have every single thing we've talked about in this video in our actual course over at thenextrank.com. And specifically, I think it was the quarter pitch spacing. What rank was that?
That's the free one.
Yeah, that's in the free one. Yeah, for Plat. So if you guys want to check that out, get a lot more information than what we provide in this video, thenextrank.com/free for that free course. Give yourself a little bit of taster before you want to buy the actual course. But other than that, join our Discord and check out all of our other videos on the YouTube channel. And yeah, drop a like, drop a sub, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.